Okay. All right, all the honorable members, I think we will begin with a word of prayer. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with abundant favor as your servants whom you have been pleased to call the performance of important trust in this country and the Republic of Kenya. Let your blessings descend upon us, the assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as promote your honor and glory and advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you are committed to our charge. Amen. Honorable members, I think this is the Ad-Hoc Committee on the to look into the functions and functioning of the municipality and the Kenya Urban Support Program funded projects. And members, since the two gentlemen before this committee today, they were here before, that is the CEO for administration, Mr. Tawet, and we have the municipal manager, Mr. Sum. And since you were here before, we will not do much of introductions because we have done that. We only wanted to this is going to be very brief. There are only things that you are supposed to submit and a few things that you will be required to clarify. So I would begin with the municipal manager, so you can be able to confirm that you have submitted the documents that you committed to submit, and you may be able to make a comment on them, a brief comment on them. Then I will be asking you a few issues just to clarify before we go to Mr. Tawet. So, Mr. Sum.
Thank you, Chairman, and the Honorable House. Some documents which I was required to submit, I have done this morning.
Okay.
The project management, the appointment of the project managers.
Okay.
That is Public Works.
Okay.
I have submitted copies of the project management committee for the two tenders, that is tender 1 and tender 2. I've also submitted a copy of the appointment or the composition of the CPCT. CPCT. I've also provided the expenditure, the breakdown of the expenditure of the 5% on the UDG. I've also submitted minutes discussing the board discussing the approval of the agendas of the KUSP projects, and also request for facilitation for the board members,
Okay.
which I have done.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman.
All right, now, yes, you can be able to see. Yeah, there was also a letter that you are supposed to submit.
Which one, Chairman?
Your letter, the show cause letter that you are written.
Sorry, it's likely that I didn't capture in my notes, and I will maybe submit later.
So you have not been able to supply?
That one actually escaped my mind because I didn't.
So you ensure you submit because
Yes,
that is one of the documents that you committed to. That one you will, as soon as you excuse you, that you should be able to deliver within the shortest time possible, because this committee is about to conclude its work. Work, and we will need to be concluding. So yes, I can be able to see the documents that you have referred to that you have been able to submit. There was also a letter that we had asked you, a letter requesting that the department does the procurement. You had said that the committee, the board had approved that the department does the procurement for the works. So there was that letter that you had said that you will submit with the minutes on that resolution by the board.
The letter writing to from the board to the department.
Yes, because you said the board resolved that since they were not in a position to procure, since your procurement entity was not functioning, that the board resolved that the procurement for these works be done by the department. and you said you had there was a resolution to that, and that you wrote so that the CEO was to act on a letter requesting that this be done.
Okay, noted, Chairman. I will supply maybe immediately after.
So you did not note that? Okay. Yes, I've seen the breakdown that you have given for 5%, for the 5%. And now on this, the procurement for the services of Lagoon Platinum and Geoplan, how was it done? For Lagoon and Geoplan.
I think the CEO will be able to explain.
Were you on the know yourself? Because as the manager?
Yes, I was on the know.
Did you participate?
Because we needed to supervise the projects.
So you did not participate. You know this, the only person between or among us the signatories to this account, the only person who mentioned that there was a consultant who was to do the environmental and social impact assessment was only you. No one else mentioned it. No one. Everyone else said no. There was no other consultant that was paid. So you would better know. Because Towet and Malakwen and even the CC did not attest to this. Nor even the board. None of the board members say that they outsourced for this. In fact, some members of the board did indicate that it was done locally by the staff in the public works, and I'm sure you also mentioned it. Although towards the tail end you mentioned the EIA having been done by a consultant. So, how was it done?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I think in terms of doing an EIA, it cannot be just done locally, because you have to get a consultant to do it, and therefore we did it through the department.
Okay.
Yes.
So this was also done by the department?
Yes.
Even the sourcing of the hire of vehicles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a decision by the committee that you have given us the list of the...
It was a subject of consultation with the department so that they procure the services of the consultant.
So these vehicles were procured for whose use?
As indicated in the 5% expenditure,
yes,
it is for the supervision of the ongoing projects.
Okay, so who are the ones, who is in charge of the vehicles?
The department.
No, there has to be someone who's responsible. The department, fine. Is it by the procurement manager? Is it the not procurement, the project manager? Or is it the municipal manager? Or is it the CEO?
The vehicle is used by the department as well as the project managers. Even one vehicle is still there.
But there has to be someone who's...
Majorly the vehicles, the supervision vehicles are always stationed at the project manager's office, Public Works.
Public Works?
Yes.
So the person in charge of all the vehicles who's monitoring the use of those vehicles is the project manager?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying how was... Yes, Honorable Koech?
Maybe I should ask on that note whether these vehicles were meant to also facilitate the board to do their monitoring of the projects. Was it supposed to?
Fair enough. That's a good question.
Yeah, it is meant to assist anyone. In fact, even the assembly, even if you come and ask that you want to move to look at the projects, those particular projects, the vehicle is available.
Hold on, Honorable Walter. Let Honorable Gideon conclude.
And then, Chair, I think on that note, we need to be sufficiently furnished with the information, because most of the board members say they lacked facilitation to do the monitoring. So one of the aspects should be, how then did they miss out on such an available asset to move around?
The question should be, how many vehicles have been hired?
You sure?
How many vehicles were hired?
We had, I think, Chief will be able to attest, I think 3. But
Three
one is still on site now.
So 3
Yeah,
vehicles were hired. 3 is one on side. What about the other 2?
We terminated them.
Why? And the project is not complete.
The project is still ongoing. You don't need to use so many vehicles
But
at
the
tail end.
No, the question is, you procured for 3, and the work is not complete. How did you scale down? What advice, what informed the scaling down of the number of vehicles?
Yeah, the CEO will attest to it. We
No.
also, we
Yes.
just, we felt that we don't need, at this end, we only need that, you know, that the work in progress is still ongoing. And
Yeah.
you don't need to have a lot of mobility now that the resources have been done, the approvals have been acquired and all those things.
Honorable Walter?
Thank you, Chair. I think the question that I would have asked, Honorable Gideon has really asked, and I also to emphasize as to why the board told us that they had no facilitation at all in terms of monitoring.
Correct.
So, and again, Honorable Chair, we wish to know the terms of agreement in terms of this hired vehicle. Because how, at certain moment, the contract is terminated, Honorable Chair. We want to know as to why the said contract was terminated. Issue of vehicle.
Yes, Honorable Gideon.
My other question is, Chair, when was the last payment made to these particular hired services? Vehicle?
Yes. Then you can tie the 2 questions with this question. That what were the terms of contract between the county, or for that case the municipality, and the supplier of the vehicles?
Chairman,
Yes, Honorable Chariot.
I want to inquire also from the member, which other department actually do you use the same vehicle? Apart from your department, which other department also uses the same vehicle in the adjudication of its activities?
Okay. You can respond.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Maybe to start with the last question is that the hired vehicles were at the disposal or available for the Department of Administration, the project managers, and municipality.
Okay.
As to when the contract, or when did we stop?
Man, I want to interject so that the member also can. I am to inquire, do you use the same vehicle also with the Department of Roads?
Okay, that's a good question. Proceed.
Yeah, I would sufficiently say yes, because they are still part of the technical staff who do supervise our works.
Okay.
Yeah.
So respond to the other questions.
When did we terminate them?
Yes.
I think February. I will want to confirm. We did the last end of January or end of February. But there's still one vehicle that is still with the project managers at the public works, which is still running the supervision.
What are the terms of contract? What were the terms of contract?
Until the terms of contract is until the contract is over.
So, and now that you have terminated, what happens? Is there, what happens? Is there a cost on the county?
No, there is no cost to the county.
Okay. Yes, Honorable Koech.
Let me ask, can the state officer supply us with the contract terms of this particular engagement?
Fair enough. I think that's
so that we can.
Would you be having the contract with the supply of vehicles? Fair enough. That one we should be able to get. Yes, Honorable Fred.
Ningependa kuuliza CEO na municipal manager ya kwamba ametuambia kwamba kuna gari ya supervision. Na ukiangalia kwa PQ kuna pesa ya supervision. Acha gani tulipe hao watu pesa na tuwapatie gari pia. Kwa sababu ukiangalia the contract huwa anaweka 15,000 ngapi for supervision. Ya nini tena na kuna pesa ya supervision unapea gari ya nini? Nafikiri mheshimiwa kama mmepitia kwa PQ. Barabara nini?
Honorable Fred, you are very right about that. That ordinarily, once you contract, the contractor normally supplies a vehicle under supervision for the project manager. Is that so?
Yes.
And the BQs have that component. But again, you went ahead to procure for other vehicles. And the contract term, the contractors are supposed to provide a vehicle.
Yeah, in compliance to the guidelines which I have submitted to you, Chairman.
Yes.
The last component is saying that in order to finance investment preparation costs, municipalities shall be permitted to spend maximum of 5% of their UDG allocation on the design, costing, and supervision of investment projects.
Fair enough.
So,
Maybe, Chair.
No, fair enough.
Maybe let
the
me
issue is, Honorable Koech, before you come in, the issue is not the guidelines. The guidelines I've given, amongst other things, supervision, amongst other things. So in this case, you have a contract with a contractor, which includes provision of vehicles for supervision. It does not necessarily mean you must be able to hire. You can be able to utilize on the other provisions that are required, the guidelines that you've been given. But on this component, I think it's clear. Yes, Honorable Koech.
My question is, how much is quoted in the BQ as supervision fee?
Correct.
And again,
Yes, Honorable Walter.
was this tender competitively used, sourced, I mean? If yes, where is the advert and the companies which participated in the same contract?
On the provision of hired vehicles. That's Honorable Fred.
Pia nauliza PQ ya hiyo kazi ndio tuelewe vile inaendelea. Unajua hata tukiuliza maswali 20 hatuna PQ ya hiyo barabara tutaelewa.
No, Honorable Fred, on this one, we have, so before the BQs are here for the road. Our question now is on the issue of the hiring of vehicles, which you got it right by saying that in the contract, there is supervision.
Yes.
So now these are the component of supervision. That's what we are interested in, that there is someone who was given service for supervision and their vehicles hired for supervision. So we are only asking on the issue of, I think, let's make it simple. On the issue of this hire of the vehicles, you said there should be the contract for supply of vehicles for hire, isn't it? So you'd want to see those terms of contract for that case.
I think the CEO will be able to supply that.
Maybe,
Yes, Honorable Koech.
is he in a position to respond to the question I raised? How much was indicated
Yes.
in the
In the
BQs in the contract for supervision?
Yes, proceed to respond.
How much was in the PQ?
Yes.
Well, maybe I need to expose myself to the PQ so that I can be able to say here correctly. Otherwise, I'm sure the PQ is available for your scrutiny.
All right, we'll be able to check, but you now know that it would be illegal for that case to procure for supervision vehicles, and yet it is already terms of the contract. It's part of the terms of contract. So I think soon
Chairman,
that we would want to progress. We leave that at that. We can't discuss much about that. Now that you are a signatory to this account, the UDG account, confirm again that the issue of the transfer of the 170 to a call account, you are not on the know.
Yes, I was not in the know.
Okay. Because the CEO for finance did indicate that he was on the know and he was to notify the two of you, now that both of inform the two of you. And we asked the two of you, what action did you take? Toet said he is now very keen, checking every week. But we said you did not take action in written. to seek explanation as to that action, either to the bank or to the CEC. And you did not bring that to the attention of the board. Is that so?
Can I respond?
Sorry?
Can I respond?
Yes, proceed.
House, I was the first one to know that there is an anomaly. And the first people I called was my colleagues, the signatories. I called the CEO, administration, and I called the CEO, finance, and I called the CC to inform them that there is an anomaly here. So we had a discussion informally, consultation that went, to a higher level. And I think after some discussion, after some days, we actually discussed informally with my CEO here. Why? Because we were not informed, and we had actually intended to raise a letter to the bank.
And the question is, our issue is, you did not, the action was done in 2019,
Yes.
October, the month of October, 1st. And we are now in 2020. So to date, you have not done any written letter to seek explanation, either from the bank or the person who took that action. That is where the gap is, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, there are two other questions, honorable members. If you check on this statement on UDG and UIG, there is a company called Centrilock that has been paid an amount about 8 million. And in all the contract documents, we were told there are only 2 contractors on site, South Pole and Vela, and Lagoon. We have the documents applied today, the issue of hire of vehicles. So we cannot be able to trace documents for Centrilock. Who are Centrilock?
Now, Chairman, as far as I'm concerned, or we are concerned, the agreement that was signed is between South Pole, who is the main contractor, and Vela as the main contractor.
Correct.
But in the contract, the addendum contract, which was given to them, they had an option of subcontracting parts of the work for a quick, so that in completion in time. So through South Pole, who is the main contractor, in their invoice, it's for them in the addendum, that is the contract addendum. It's allowed once the main contractor advises the client or the payee to pay to the subcontractor directly. But they take the overall responsibility as South Pole, because that is where we have the contract with them. For the third party, we cannot.
So which section of law allows the county to pay a third party? Because that you have a contract with South Pole. That should be the only person the county engages. As to whoever contracts out, the main client, in this case the county, it's not his business to pay a third party. There is no provision in law. Yes to it. You want to respond to that? Yes.
I want to agree that prior to, before the chair and the Honorable House, I want to agree that prior to going in that direction, it was the advice of the project manager that and the technical team, that the slow pace of how the project was going. And out of that, we held a meeting to deliberate on that. I'm going to submit those minutes, which went towards that subcontracting. And then in that meeting, we ensured all the technical people to give the advice were there. It is written when we were finally deciding on that subcontracting. And then they went on to the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act.
Yes.
Whereby in actual, that is 149, it says if the tender documents, that is on the issue now of subcontracting.
Yes.
If the tender documents do not prohibit subcontracting, the successful tenderer, which in this case is the South Pole, may subcontract part of the tender. May subcontract part of the tender. Here it is.
Correct.
You can be able to submit that. That was now the clause with which, so they went ahead to look at the original tender document, and they found that it is allowing subcontracting. That is now when they did that. Now, as a result of that, together with the legal, an addendum now was made towards the original contract because it was allowing subcontracting. This is the addendum, which was done on 14 May, which definitely I had also to protect myself because I could fear where it will come and involve payment without all the legal procedures followed. I can submit this. This was the addendum which is going towards that, allowing that subcontracting.
Okay.
And then the South Pole now gave that commitment that this is the company they have subcontracted to. You can also submit that. Thank you. So that goes.
Maybe, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Koech.
I think you've asked a valid question. That on the submission of the CEO is only answered the fact that the contractor is allowed to do subcontracting. The question was, which part of the law allows you as the accounting officer of that department to pay a third party? A third party. Do we have a provision for that in the PFM Act?
Furthermore, let me guide the two of you. You referred to section 149, 1, but you did not read. You are not advised well, because when you read 149, the entire 149, that is subsection 1 and 2. What you are referred is subsection 1. If the tender documents do not prohibit subcontracting, the successful tenderer may subcontract part of the tender, but only if the person to be contracted has not been debarred from procurement proceedings in accordance with this act, or has participated in the procurement of goods, works, or services related to that contract. Now, the first question there is, the subcontracted company, did it participate in the initial tendering process for this? Did they apply? Because the last paragraph of that statement prohibits them. That you will be able to answer, because you should have been able to do that due diligence. Secondly, what you only read 1. Subsection 2 says, the successful tenderer shall be responsible towards the proceeding entity for the obligations of the subcontract. There is no obligation to the client. So there is nowhere in law that says the client shall pay a subcontracted service, because that will amount to brokerage, where one wins a tender and is not in a position to do the work, subcontracts, and offloads the responsibility to the client. I think there is nowhere in law. Yes, Mr. Tweet?
But if it was a misadvice, I'll go and find out further, because at times the legal issues, the procurement issues, at times we guided by. That is how I was advised up to that level.
Now, so on that,
yes,
because the people who are in the meeting that you are referring to, the
yes,
minute, you have Timon Lale,
yes,
being the legal officer. Okay? So, the person who will bear the greatest responsibility for misadvising will be the legal guy. Because, and also, let me see the procurement. This is Chafetirop? Yes, the two of them, because they know the terms of contracting.
And that's why when I was proceeding, I was safe, knowingly we are done due, to me it was a due diligence, but beyond.
Now,
seek further
where
clarification.
SUM is not in this meeting, and the CEO for finance, and you are the signatories. That is why I asked again, did the board approve any payments to the contractors? Because ordinarily, when a certificate is raised, it's supposed to be sought for payment. And the board, at this point, ought to have been able to approve for payment. Or the technical committee that you refer to, that usurped the powers of the board, the one that you have given us that it was constituted. Are there any minutes for approval of any payment? Or once you received the request for payment, that certificate, you acted on it without approval of any entity, whether the technical or the board?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
We had a technical meeting.
Which approved every payment?
Pursuant to that advice.
Yes.
From the legal and the procurement.
Yes.
To approve the payment. I think we have the minutes to that effect, which it was discussed.
Okay.
So there was a technical...
this is what Toyota has applied on the decision of the subcontracting.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But now we are talking about as to the payment of the subsequent certificates raised by the contractors.
The last one, I think we've not met. The last meeting.
No, the last that have been paid. You said Toyota confirmed that there are 2 payments to each of the contractors. 2 certificates raised to each of the contractors.
Yes.
So for the 2 each, were there any meeting to approve payment, or it was a decision by the signatories to proceed and pay without approval of any entity?
I think, Chairman, I'm not really very sure, but I think we had a meeting, which I'll confirm after this.
You are not sure, and you are a signatory?
I'll confirm after this meeting.
And you are a signatory to it? Can you speak to that? Were there any meetings that approved the payment? The 2 of you are signatories.
Yeah.
And you paid, and you are not sure whether it was approved. Yes, Honorable Fred.
Chairman, nimesikia
Yes. Yes.
And normally that is they normally do the meetings. Maybe now that is why I was saying I'll clear with the chairman, with the municipal manager after.
See, what we are saying is ordinarily, when a request for payment comes, as the signatory, there are things that you check. That one, there is a certificate raised.
Yes.
Signed, and there is a letter from the project manager. Fair enough? Then there are minutes approving the payment, either from the board. For this case, it should be the board. But now that there is a technical committee that was constituted, are there minutes approving this by that committee? Because if you end up paying and tomorrow the board or the committee, technical committee, disapprove of the work that the certificate has been raised, so you'll be in trouble. Honorable Fred? Okay. Yes, Honorable Toit. Mr. Toit? Not getting the minutes. You have already paid without the minutes. Honorable Cynthia?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm still stuck at the subcontracting stage. Kindly allow me to ask for a clarification from the CEO. The CEO has submitted that he has paid, or he is paying the subcontracted company directly. I just want to ask the CEO if he has direct control over the subcontracted company.
Honorable Fred?
Pia ningependa kuuliza maswali. Unajua kuna maswali umeuliza, nikasikia municipal manager akisema walikuwa na legal. Ndio ningependa kuuliza legal anatumia sheria gani? Nilikuwa nafikiri ni katiba ya Kenya. Kwa sababu hata kama wewe ni legal na uko hapo, huwezi tumia, unatumia katiba na sheria yenye iliyowekwa. Sasa unajua hata kama legal amekaa chini hapo na asipotumia sheria ni makosa pia. Ningependa pia hawa waangalie kama kuna sheria walitumia, kwa sababu hii maneno mnaona ni rahisi, lakini wengi wamefungwa jela juu ya makosa bila kujua. Kwa sababu serikali wakikuja saa hii hautaongea ni kotini.
All right, Mr. Toit, you want to respond to that? Okay. Yes, Honorable Walter.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I also want to seek clarification on this issue of these three companies, Honorable Chair. Number one is the Lagoon Platinum 1, the Lagoon Platinum 2, and Lagoon 3, Honorable Chair. When you look at the statement, Honorable Chair, all the companies have been paid. Yet in the agreement, Chair, it shows that the agreement should end in 30th June 2020, Honorable Chair. And you can see the payment was paid long back. That is on 19 December. That's 19 December, Honorable Chair. Yet the work has not even halfway, Honorable Chair. Can the board accounting officer explain this, Honorable Chair?
Mr. Sum, that's what we ask you to do, the terms of contract.
Yeah, I've said, Chairman, we'll be able to facilitate the contracts that were signed through the CEO's office. That the contract is still running, and so it's not yet concluded. There is one vehicle that is still with the project managers, which is going round for supervision as at now. That is what I've committed to answer.
Ensure you supply the contract, because as by what Honorable Walter has been able to...
Honorable Chair.
Yes, Honorable Walter.
Can Mr. Sum explain as to why the contract has been paid, yet they have already taken all their dues, yet the work is still going on, Honorable Chair? That is, I think
Yes.
it's not...
Fair enough. The question is, the lagoon has been paid to, there is lagoon 1 and 2. A total of how much does that come, Honorable Walter? Is it 3 point? It's 1.6?
3 point something, Honorable Chair.
Can you read the amounts each?
Number one is Lagoon, that is 1.6 million, 1.656. And then number two is Lagoon Platinum 2, 1.4 million. And Lagoon 3, that is 2,000. That makes the total of Kenya shillings 3 million. Yeah, 3 million point something, 3.0 million, almost, Chair.
So 3 million has been paid for lagoon as of December 2019. And yet, Honorable friend, as of 2019, all of us have seen the works. The works were supposed to have started way earlier than that, but the works just began around January. So, but as of December, you had fully paid, for lack of the contract document to tell us how much was supposed to be paid to them. If it is the entire amount, you had paid up to 3 million. And now you are saying there is only one vehicle still running. So are you able to explain that?
Chairman, I may not sufficiently give you now, but I think as we might make a write-up. But we are saying that when the program started, we had much to do. Do you remember the initial mobilization of approvals and many other things? This is when it was very crucial to have this supervision.
I think what we do, honorable members, provide us now with the contract of that the company that supplied the vehicles, and also give us a report as to the use of the same vehicles. That means you will be able to supply us with the work ticket for every vehicle,
Chair.
with a report as to how it was used.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Fred. Yes, Honorable Fred.
Wewe unaelewa tujue ni gari gani, wafanyakazi magari ni yao, watuletee namba hiyo magari ndio tuone ni gani.
Fair enough. That forms part of the vehicles, and that should be the soonest. I think this committee is wrapping up its work by tomorrow. The report shall be by tomorrow, so that has to be supplied before close of business today. Honorable Walter, did you have something to ask?
Honorable Chair, I think, Honorable Chair, that as addressed that issue, we need to get the number plates of the vehicles which were contracted.
Correct.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Chairman.
And the report, yes, Honorable
Chairman.
Delphas?
I'm also interested in requesting that actually we be submitted with the payments actually made to the same contractor. Total actual, the number of payments actually which has been made on the same. Not only on the superficial vehicle, but also on the work done.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. Now,
Yeah, I
let's
wanted
go.
to say
Yes, you want to say something before
Yeah.
there's a question for Toet?
Yeah, I know there is a question for Toet. The work tickets and the agreement actually are at the CEO's office, so I'm sure the CEO will adequately also address.
No, okay. That's Honorable Mr. Toet. You'll be able. Now, Mr. Toet, you had committed to supply this committee. There was one contentious issue on the issue of the payment of the IDP. The company paid.
Yes.
In all talk, there was indication that the company that was given the consultant was JK Watt Enterprises.
Yes.
You were to submit the contract agreement with the county, with JK Watt Enterprises, and you are to supply us with copies of the checks paying for the consultancy, the companies that you've paid, including the vouchers.
I'll do that.
Do you have them now?
I have them.
You have them now?
I have them in office. It's only that this morning I came directly. I want to give before end of the day, including what you have asked now.
Now, SUM being a signatory, this issue of the company that was paid for development of IDEP, which was the company again that was paid?
I'm not a signatory to that because it's UIG.
Oh, you're not?
So I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know I'm privy to it. It is Jack Watt Enterprises.
No, you would not. I would urge you not to commit to knowing.
Okay, I withdraw.
Yes,
Is
Mr. Toet?
Jomo Kenyatta University Enterprise Limited.
But we said in the statement, the bank statement,
Yes.
it's not appearing as that. That is why we were saying provide us with a check.
Okay.
Is it
I'll provide.
is it check number 11?
Yes.
Is it check number 11?
It is check number 11 that was
Check-
paid on
check-
19 December 2019.
Yes, check number 11. And this check number 11 is notorious. Even on the UDG, check number 11 appears as payment of consultant services again, 1.3 million, which we have asked. That is the company that did the environmental impact assessment.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, to it.
Something.
Yes.
There's a, I think when you look at the initials, which is at the bank statement,
Yes.
I know it is CONS.
Consultants.
What is it UDG or UIG?
It should be UIG.
UIG.
Yes.
So it is actually consultants,
Consultancy.
not construction.
We confirmed even with the bank.
It's okay. Municipal construction consultant. Now, you see, our question is very simple. All of us, all including Honorable Fred, for the bare minimum, knows that when a check is drawn to the bank, the statement will reflect the payee. It does not describe the service. This is a description of service. It should be appearing like check number, let's say check number 14, let's pick the one to...
Even number 9. Check
Even number 9.
Yes. Kenya Lagoon.
Yeah, check number 9 is saying Lagoon. So we expected to see JK Watt.
Chair, I want to seek this house that I provide the payment voucher, the invoice, so that it
And a copy of the
very
check.
clear. Yeah, and a copy of the check.
Especially the notorious, both for UIG,
What?
check number 11 and check number 11 for UDG.
Okay.
Yes.
Chair.
Provide all
Yes,
of it.
Honorable Cynthia?
Honorable Chair, I haven't moved on from the subcontracting. Honorable Chair,
You are
I
stuck
want-
there?
Yes, I am stuck here because there is a serious anomaly that we are letting it pass.
Yes,
Honorable
Honor-
Chair, you see, as you said earlier, you cannot read the law in isolation. So you have read, the CEO read 149.1, but left 149.2. Honorable Chair, 149.2 says the main contractor who has an agreement with the client will carry all the responsibilities. Honorable Chair, we have to agree that it is an illegality for the CEO in charge of administration to make a direct payment to a subcontracted company, Honorable Chair. It is an illegality.
Absolutely an illegality. So, Honorable Cynthia, while you slid out briefly, we addressed that matter, and we are all in agreement that was not done well, and they said they will be able to supply the documents as to the subcontract. And we have, in fact, beside even that, the big challenge there was from the outlook. The outlook means there are 3 contractors on site because there is no contract between the county and the third contractor. More so that they read the law in isolation. So I think that one we have addressed. And that's going to be, that I think that's clear. So I think, honorable members, I think those were the issues that we needed clarification from the 2 gentlemen, unless there is another question, because we were just seeking clarifications on the... Yes, Honorable Fred?
Yangu tu nilikuwa nataka niulize CEO na municipal manager. Tangu nikuja hapa nimejaribu kuuliza stima ya sokoni ndani. Lights kama hizi. Haijawahi wekwa kabisa. Ndio nilikuwa napenda makosa ni nini, na nimeona juzi hata haionekani penye stima inawekwa. Nasikia tu kuna IMAS, lakini ya soko sioni vile itakuwa. Unajua hata ikiwekwa ya IMAS tu na soko iko chini haitamulika ndani penye. Ndio ningeshangaa pia, nimetafuta penye iko, nimesunguka sijui kwa nini stima haijawahi wekwa hiyo soko tangu.
Walter?
Chair, thank you. Chair, I want to ask about the issue of directors' payment, Honorable Chair. When you look at this statement, Honorable Chair, on 30th August, the directors were paid their allowances.
That's the board members?
Yeah, the board members.
Yes.
That is 7 million. And again on 17th September, they were paid their allowances. And what informed that they are not being paid?
Can you come up with the dates again? Read the dates again.
That's on 30th August.
30th August?
Yeah, they were paid 7 million. That is 7,731,900. And on 17th September, they were again paid 1,054,200. And up to now, Honorable Chair, you can't see any other payment for the managers, the directors, Honorable Chair. What informed that they are not being paid again, Honorable Chair, and there's the funds?
I think that the manager should be able to respond. And also, we have seen in the documents that you have supplied the payment schedules for the board members. Looks like you have paid up to 6 meetings. Whereas the board members were indicating that they have not been paid. There are some, probably 2 or 3 meetings that have not been paid. And if I remember well, you have only held 7 board meetings. So would you be able to clarify that alongside what Honorable Walter said?
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to clarify for the first. The first is on payments of the allowances to the board. As indicated in those documents, we've made payments up to almost 6 or so. There are still few payments which are still within the system because the year is not yet closed. And we are sufficiently informed that all the sittings will be paid by the end of the, by end of financial year. Number 2, let me go back to what Honorable Turner was saying about the 7 million and the 1.5 million. The 7 million is payment under the induction and program that all the members, executive, legislature, and the staff went to Mombasa. In fact, it was executive and legislature, the county assembly. That is when that 7 million was spent. The 1.4 million was spent on experience sharing to Kitui. To share experience for the board and a few board members and staff. I believe sufficiently.
So the 7 million is not only for the board members. It is inclusive of staff. Inclusive of staff and the executive and the legislature.
Now I think the 7 million is, which was Mombasa.
This was an expenditure for the Mombasa
under UIG, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Then, honorable members, those clarifications. I think there are documents that you have committed to submit. Ensure you deliver them before close of business today. And there was a question by Honorable Fred on the issue of the lights. Lighting.
Let me clarify that quickly.
Although it might not be associated with what we're having, but
Yes.
you can be able to respond.
Yeah, I think it could be slightly associated, Chairman, because the contractor that is doing the street lighting and high mast is doing the high mast in the market. And is within the program now. They're already on site today, and before they close their contract, they will have done a high mast in the market.
Unajua kuna
Honorable Fred asked a simple question.
Yes.
That the high mast, does it solve the lack of lighting inside the market?
Yeah, slightly that will be addressed, but the others will be coming up in the next programs.
So it does not address.
It will not sufficiently, because, yeah.
Honorable Fred?
Chairman, unajua kwa nini nauliza? Nafikiri waheshimiwa wote wameona vile watu wanauza mboga nje. Mimi nimetembea kuwauliza, kaniambia mheshimiwa simuweke stima. Sasa unajua IMAS iko juu ya roof. Unajua IMAS kwa hii nyumba haitamulika hapa ndani. Itakuwa inamulika mabati juu na nje. Ndio nilikuwa nauliza, unajua wacha tu.
Fair enough, Honorable Fred. We'll be able to address that. So unless there is any other comment you have, Mr. Towit and Sum, kindly ensure the documents that you have committed now be delivered before the close of business today.
Thank you. We'll do that.
And you might force us again to require you back, because for you, if you submit documents partially, we will not be moving. Because there are some of the questions that we would want to ask emanating from those statements. So the sooner you supply us with those documents, the better.
Thank you.
I thank you, and I think at this point you will be excused, and we will be shown a way out by the Sergeant at Arm. And honourable members, this committee is suspended for 5 minutes.